Realizing these large wolf tracks were made by a three-legged animal, Janet's sense of alertness rose. Her eyes followed in the direction of the prints. Her mind already knew she was not likely to see the alpha male that made them. Still, she looked until she lost the tracks about 30 yards away in the snow. Turning her head and feet more quickly than she should, Janet pivoted to scan her surroundings for any glimpse of the beast. Nothing. Standing in the knee-deep snow, she felt it wise to get back inside the lodge. Even equipped with the Smith & Wesson 500 strapped in its holster on her side, she did not feel strong enough to take on a revenge-minded wolf, even if it only had 3 legs. Despite the cold, sweat beaded on her back as she recalled her brushes with the wolf pack after escaping Brutus, the 800-pound rogue grizzly that came close to killing her. Strengthening her grip on the revolver's handle, Janet limped the 75 yards through the chilly snow to the cabin. Brushing the white stuff off her coat, she stamped her feet on the porch before opening the mudroom door and closing it quickly behind her. Relieved she was once again safe, the 36-year-old redhead donned her coat and hung it on one of the pegs before untying and slipping off the boots that kept her feet warm and dry. Grabbing a towel from the pile in the nearby dryer, Janet dried her hair and wrapped the long tresses in the towel like a turban. She was not ready to hang up the gun belt just yet. Uncle Brian and her college friend and new business associate, Mandy, were stuck in Kalispell because of the snowstorm. They had been marooned for 2 days and were likely to be away from Rose Creek Ranch for another day before making it back with supplies. Without hesitation, Janet strode to the liquor cabinet and pulled out a bottle of whiskey. She stepped back to the kitchen area and grabbed the glass from the cabinet to the right of the sink. With no one to hear, she spoke out loud, "I could use a stiff drink right now." She poured herself 3 fingers of whiskey with no ice and drank a healthy dose of the alcoholic medicine. When she had drained the glass, she unstrapped the 500's holster and laid the belt and pistol on the kitchen island where it could be easily reached. Feeling cold and damp, she stripped and stepped into the shower. Drying herself and donning dry sweatpants and a hoodie, Janet headed back to the kitchen for another shot of courage. She knew she had to, and called Brian to let him know what she found. "Hey Brian," she began when he answered. "Guess what I just found within 100 yards of the cabin?" "You want me to guess or can you just tell me?" "I think I discovered what happened to the wolf you shot when I was attacked." "Did you see him?" Brian raised the excitement in his voice. "No, but I found wolf tracks in the snow down by the pond." "And?" "They were the fresh tracks of a large animal like an alpha male." "Interesting. There's more to the story though." "What's that?" "The tracks showed only 3 legs." "What?" 3 footprints, not 4. Rather strange pattern, I thought. That would mean my bullet hit him in the leg instead of where I thought I hit the beast. That's my guess too, but there's more to tell you. Fill me in, Janet. I swear I have heard howling every night that you've been gone, and if it's the alpha, he keeps getting braver as he comes closer to the cabin with each passing night. Really? And a night or 2 ago, I would have sworn something was scratching at the mudroom door. Sounds like whatever it is might be stalking you, Janet. I know, it started a couple of days ago and I have not slept a wink since you and Mandy have been gone. Well, you stay inside until we get back and keep your weapons loaded. I will. What does it look like for you two making it back here? The plows went out early this morning, so we should be able to get down the road by mid-afternoon and be back before dark. Sit tight, young lady. We will be home soon. Thanks. I look forward to having some company. When she hung up, Janet walked around the lodge and made sure all the doors were locked. She checked the shotguns by each door to make sure shells were bolted in the chambers, then double-checked her .357 and the 500 for the same reason. She put the 500 back on the kitchen counter in its holster and replaced her companion .357 in its holster. The redhead poured 2 more fingers of booze in the glass and took a long drink. Thinking out loud, Janet said, I wish the Walkers had a telephone. I want to talk to Joe and Little Hawk about tracking down this annoying wolf. She finished her whiskey and thought better about saddling a horse and riding up to the Walkers' camp. There was too much snow for the horse and her confidence was at an all-time low. Having had too much to drink had also dulled her senses. Knowing there was at least some proof the alpha male was still alive sent chills down her spine. She had survived the massive grizzly's attack, but the threat of being taken down by a pack of hungry wolves was nerve-rattling. She could not stop thinking about the bear attack and being hunted by the wolf pack. Snow was still falling lightly on Rose Creek Ranch as the tough young woman fell asleep on one of the couches facing Mount Snowy, knocked out by alcohol consumption. At least she slept. She was awakened by a knock on the door. Still hungover, she focused and realized it was Mandy. Rather than wait for Brian to get to the door with his keys, Janet stumbled over and let Mandy in with a handful of grocery bags. "Hey girl," Mandy greeted her friend. "Sorry about that," Janet replied. "I've been a little tense since you left, and I discovered our friendly wolf is in the neighborhood. I know and understand. Brian filled me in after talking to you yesterday. Could you grab this bag while I help Brian bring in the rest of our supplies?" "Sure, and thanks." Janet placed the bags of groceries on the kitchen counter and closed the door as Mandy went back to the truck. She stood by to open it again, and as she and her uncle brought in more supplies. When everything was in, she locked the door and gave first Brian and then Mandy big hugs. "It is good to see the both of you," she said as they removed their coats. "Likewise," Brian said as he took Mandy's coat and hung it in the mudroom with his. Mandy started putting away the grocery items and asked Janet if she would fix drinks for them too. "Sure. Do either of you want any ice?" "Not for me," Brian replied.